US India defense partnership stands as a pillar of strength forged through shared democratic values and a commitment to regional stability. This alliance transcends military cooperation, reflecting deep alignment in the Indo-Pacific region. Together, the US and India serves as a catalyst for peace, prosperity, and a rules-based international order, promoting sovereignty, justice, and human rights. Evolving from limited Cold War engagement to a robust strategic partnership, their collaboration addresses complex security challenges and reshapes the geopolitical landscapes. US-India strategic cooperation spans counterterrorism, maritime security, and technological advancements, fostering an environment conducive to growth and universal values. As the Indo-Pacific emerges as a critical theater, the US and India are poised to enhance their partnership, setting the stage for a future marked by increased security, collaboration, and unwavering commitment to shared democratic values. Foundational agreements such as the Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement (LEMOA) and Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement (COMCASA) have paved the way for deeper logistic and operational cooperation. Future agreements may focus on enhancing supply chain resilience and joint maintenance.
It has been highlighted twice already. On June 7, 2016, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the recognition, along with President Barack Obama, of India as a major defense partner. This is significant because for the first time, this had an endorsement of the US Congress, which I think is significant, and that is what gives it a special standing. And of course, it elevates defense trade and technology cooperation between the two countries to a new level. More important, if you look at the top of the slide, I think the 2+2 ministerial dialogue mechanism involving both the State Department and the defense on our side, the external affairs and the defense, I think actually has been able to remove a lot of the hurdles and make it easier to make the relationship a little more smooth. And India and the US have signed 4 foundational agreements that you can see on the slide over there. 2002 was the General Security of Military Information Agreement, GSOMIA, which guaranteed that the two countries would protect any classified information or technology that they share, which is important. 2016, we signed the LEMOA, Logistics Exchange Memorandum, which allowed or created a framework for sharing military logistics, which is commonplace now. 2018, we signed what's called the SISMOA, Communications and Information Security Memorandum of Agreement. I was involved with this as part of Mr. Parekhar's delegation, and which is nothing else but an adapted version of the COMCASA. I recall in one of our visits in DC in Pentagon, Mr. Parekhar, in his very characteristic casual style, told Secretary Carter that, look, why are you getting stuck by terminology? The moment you remove this COMCASA and give it a new name, you might find acceptance. He said it with such simplicity, but ultimately this is what has taken the course, because all the mindsets that were there were removed because of this simple solution to an otherwise apparently complex problem. And I highlight this because this was important. It allowed the US to supply proprietary encrypted communication equipment to India. It would be of interest to note what the attaché was mentioning from there. Prior to this, our C-17, C-130s and P-81 were actually operating with commercially available communication equipment because SISMA was not signed. So that is the kind of change which an agreement can do. 2020, we signed the BECA, that is the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement for Geospatial Intelligence. Those from the military know, but may not be talking about it, the kind of leverage that it has given to us in creating particularly maritime domain awareness of all around us.
Over the last 2 decades, the US has become a significant supplier of defense equipment to India and become India's largest military exercise partner. And I'm looking forward to Tiger Triumph, which is we'll be doing that in Vizag with the Eastern Naval Command just coming up in March. The bilateral defense trade with India has grown exponentially year on year. We were close to zero in 2008. And that's about 25 billion now at the end of 2023. And that's a remarkable jump just in 15 years only. Several U.S. aerospace companies have established partnerships with Indian counterparts, facilitating technology transfer and enhancing indigenous defense production capabilities, including some work that's taking place here in Hyderabad. Both Boeing and Lockheed Martin have set up joint ventures here with Tata, and I think we'll be hearing from some of their implementers as well today. And I've had a chance to visit both, and what an impressive array of production is coming out. And just the diversity also of the workforce, I have to say, is really something to be commended. The relationship, of course, is more than just defense sales. Together, we have taken steps to improve interoperability. And this includes the exercise I just mentioned, and coordinated and signed technical agreements to further expand India's access to high-end American defense technology. So increasing joint services cooperation is also demonstrated by the increase in U.S. India military exercises, as I mentioned, upcoming Tiger Triumph in Vizag. And these have helped our navies work effectively side by side in providing disaster relief for communities devastated by tsunamis or earthquakes or floods across the region. And in fact, it was one of the tsunamis that devastated the Indo-Pacific I guess it was almost 20 years ago, that first brought the Quad countries together in a joint effort to do exactly this type of humanitarian assistance. So the reason for the growth in trade and interoperability is because the Indo-Pacific is crucial to the future of both India and the United States.
Now, technology cooperation, now it has evolved. It is a very evolutionary process. It cannot be a revolution. Nobody gives you technology gift wrapped to be used. Neither can he give it, nor can we absorb it. Now, we look back at 2004, next step in strategic partnership, 2014-15, we went on to operationalization of DTTI. Now, this DTTI, I can answer it in question-answer session. It has not failed, it has evolved. It has evolved into what in 2018, we went in for that memorandum of understanding that memorandum of intent that we signed between the Defense Innovation Organization and our IDEX and the Defense Innovation Unit on the US side. We went in for it, and then 2022 and 2023, we went into ISET. Now they have grown, and the other eminent members from DRDO sitting here would bear this out, that it was much longer earlier than the ISAT that we started talking of cooperation for G414 engines, whether it was the HAL or it was under the ambit of DTTI. So this is what has matured today. Now, and this is how it will proceed. Now, a lot has been said that these building blocks that we made, or the major defense partner status that we had, is not giving us a legislative authority. But let me just give you my perspective without contending some other perspective. What I just wish to say is that major defense partner, it helped us, and which got formalized under Title 10 and which got incorporated in National Defense Authorization Act of 2017. It gave us a smooth transition across Obama administration and Trump administration. We had a smooth sailing during the Trump administration, and today it's perhaps ISAT which will give us the strength, if we can build it, to have a smooth transition across the administrations. Now, today, DTTI, IDEX, DIU cooperation, they've got subsumed under ISAT. And the defense-related wing of ISAT is IndusX. We have these programs. We recently had this in November, just before the 5th 2+2 dialogue, where we had for underwater communication and regarding the oil spill detection and all. Now, they will build into it.
Several factors drive the strategic convergence between the US and India. Both nations have a vested interest in maintaining stability in the Indo-Pacific region. China's rising assertiveness and territorial claims have promoted the US India to enhance their defense collaboration to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific. Defense trade has been a cornerstone of this partnership, with the US becoming one of India's largest arms suppliers. High-profile deals underscore this deepening ties.
What has happened in 21st century is Indo-Pacific has replaced the importance of Atlantic, which was there in the 19th, 20th century, and the trade and the economic political relations that used to happen. Now the entire focus has shifted to the region of Indo-Pacific for the very important reason that plays into our favor, which is our demography. 2/3 of the humanity stays in Indo-Pacific. When we talk about Indo-Pacific, we talk about roughly 40 countries who are, either you talk about the maritime, territorial, or the island countries. We are in total of 40 countries in the Indo-Pacific. Depending upon which country's strategy you look at it, I'm overall stating it. So the demography, the people has become the power of Indo-Pacific. First of all, the demography not only provides us market, because when you have people, they are producers of your raw material, they are also consumers of your raw material, finished products. So that drives your economy. Also, demography plays in our favor because the largest of the humanity lives here. So wherever humanity is there, your foreign policy interest would lie there. So in that context, Indo-Pacific in the last few years has emerged as a very important geopolitical stratagem. What is also important to understand that Indo-Pacific is not a homogeneous entity. We were talking about countries ranging from developing, underdeveloped to developing, underdeveloped, and developing. We have various cultures, language, different political and economic systems. So that makes us very varied as a system, and it cannot be seen as from one lens. Indo-Pacific has various entities within itself. So that also works in our favor. We have also a lot of trade going through Indo-Pacific. The entire focus of Indo-Pacific is in maritime domain because the trade flows cheapest in the maritime domain. And understanding the strength of the maritime domain for trade has brought this focus on security of sea line of communication, your maritime trade, and which is the talk of the day right now.
When we examine the new international order, the Indo-Pacific region plays a pivotal and significantly increasingly critical role. It's clear that when you look toward the future, the Indo-Pacific's prominence in global affairs is only going to intensify. The richly diverse region is home to more than half the population of the world, nearly 2/3 of the world's economy, and 7 of the world's 10 largest militaries. Presently, Indo-Pacific nations, including India, are helping to define the very nature of the international order, with implications for countries far beyond the shores of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Early last year, in 2022, the White House published the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy, highlighted our commitment to work alongside allies and partners to maintain a region that is free and open, connected, prosperous, secure, and resilient. One of the most salient features of this strategy, as I previously alluded to, is the recognition that this goal cannot be achieved alone. As we increasingly see more provocative behavior by some actors throughout the region, from the Taiwan Strait to the South China Sea to the Swahili coast, testing the norms of responsible international conduct, These historic challenges require an unprecedented level of cooperation with like-minded allies and partners who share in the vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific region. In this particular endeavor, the United States is proud to work alongside India's leadership in South Asia, Indian Ocean, as a driving force of the Quad and other multinational fora, and as an engine for regional growth and development. India has the largest GDP, as previously mentioned, of any major economy, with a young population that helps make India now in this country. The United States is steadfast in continuing to build a strategic partnership in which both of our nations work together and through regional groupings to promote stability in South Asia, as well as increased collaboration in new domains such as health, space, even cyberspace, even our economic and technological boundary, and finally to contribute to a free and open Indo-Pacific. Getting down more to what we are focused on here today, an essential part of the strategic partnership, the continued growth of U.S.-India defense relationship. In 2016, the United States and India became major defense partners. This was a first for the United States, and it marked a new milestone in U.S.-India defense cooperation, as well as expanded the range and depth of our defense relationship. Senior Indian and American leaders continue to advance our strategic relationship with a vision for peace, security, and prosperity across the region.
Despite the positive trajectory, several challenges and considerations need to be addressed. Bureaucratic red tape and differing procurement processes can impede seamless cooperation. Streamlining these processes will be essential for effective collaboration. The evolving geopolitical landscape, including India's relation with Russia and the U.S. strategic priorities, could influence the trajectory of defense cooperation. Balancing these dynamics will require diplomatic finesse.
The U.S. India bilateral partnership has been focused more on the Indo-Pacific since 2012, especially because Asia-Pacific became Indo-Pacific, and the DTTI also came up because we wanted to cooperate in the Indo-Pacific, and that is why the next build-up in the defense partnership, defense and security partnership, was seen as the Indo-Pacific, because this was a region which the Americans viewed as of being of vital interest to them. So it has often been overlooked. The Indian Ocean was initially overlooked by the United States because I think their security interests were more towards China. But what has happened more recently, while India looked towards the Indian Ocean region, but maybe the challenges were not so serious. But what has happened is, the developments in this area, more specifically the war, the Gaza, the Hamas attack in October, has made the United States focus more closely towards developments happening in the Indian Ocean region. The piracy issue, which was, I think lately on the back burner, has become important once again because of U.S. ships and Western ships which have got targeted by the pirates. Also, I think the war in Ukraine, because the supply chains between Europe, when they get disrupted, the focus shifts more towards the Indian Ocean region. And also, I think the U.S. being a part of the I2U2 agreement shows that there is a greater commitment to focus on the Indian Ocean region. For India, as I mentioned earlier, besides China, this region has continued to be important, our core security concerns, because we felt the China threat much earlier in Indian Ocean, and the Somali piracy, etc. And also our energy security is so dependent on West Asia. So the Indian Ocean never lost its traction for India. And now what has become very challenging is the situation in Mali. Maldives telling us that we need to pull our armed forces away out of Maldives, and China being behind this entire maneuver makes this a very challenging proposition for India. And that is why I think we've been successfully been able to sensitize the United States, and we've been doing work with France, joint patrolling, etc., with France in the Indian Ocean region, and also some work with the United Kingdom. So all that is, I think India is trying to reiterate those alliances, not really alliances is the wrong word, these connections, and trying to forge closer cooperation to find a proper response to these challenges in the Indian Ocean.
I dare say, the developing ghost of the present, where there are certain allegations against India by Canada and the US. Is this a ghost that is going to dampen the cooperative spirit, and is it going to put speed breakers as the past has done? Even if that be the case, the US and India have managed to work together for many years, putting differences aside. And the best example I can give you is the differences in approach to UNCLOS. In fact, I think in November, there was a bill or something that was passed in the US that's looking at the US signing UNCLOS, which actually is a welcome step. But despite those differences, despite the US looking at India as a friend of Russia and India looking at the US as a friend of Pakistan, we put our differences aside, and today we are a global strategic partnership.
The future of US India defense cooperation is poised for remarkable growth, driven by shared strategic interests and a commitment to regional stability as both nations navigate emerging security challenges. These partnerships will be instrumental in shaping the Indo-Pacific's geopolitical landscape. With the increasing importance of cybersecurity and space in modern warfare, US-India cooperation in these domains is set to grow. Joint efforts to secure critical infrastructure, share threat intelligence, and develop resilient space capabilities will be vital. By fostering deeper military ties, advancing defense technology collaboration, and addressing bureaucratic and geopolitical challenges, the US and India can build a resilient and enduring defense partnership that benefits both nations and promote global security. As the Indo-Pacific region emerges as a critical geopolitical arena, the US-India alliance will play a pivotal role in shaping the future of the international security landscape.
Let me take it a little further, a slightly deeper dive. Overlapping interests, current and future enduring interests. Is there a cultural understanding between our operatives at the strategic and the functional level? This cultural fit needs to be well defined and put in place. How is that going to happen? And this is not only at the intelligence level, it also happens when we discuss MSMEs, or we talk about putting together co-development and co-production. The cultural fit between us is what needs to be put in place. We may think that we have it, but it takes a lot to develop that trust amongst ourselves. And how does it happen? It happens only when we sit down together more often, when we have more cups of coffee together, when we talk about things other than exactly what we just came for. And that would build that cultural fit for all of us. Then there are leadership and functional level issues which come into play. I dare say at the leadership level, for the last 2 tenures of elections, both in the US and in India, we've had a very positive trend. That should translate down to the functional level. But the problem usually comes at the bureaucratic and red tape level between our officials. And that cultural fit, that leadership push has to be given to the personalities which are working with each other. So it is the personalities which need to also have that fit amongst themselves. And then, of course, a robust mechanism with a layered in sharing inter-assessment mechanism. Now, this, obviously, nobody is talking about an open kind of a sharing which can happen between two countries. It probably never happens. So but can we have it? Yeah, but can we have it between the two countries in a protocol-based manner? That needs to be worked out. I'm sure there are levels which have been worked out, but can they be deepened? Certainly, can be deepened a lot. Now, Overlapping interests, of course, are in the stability in the Indo-Pacific that we see for each other. We are looking at a free, open, inclusive, secure Indo-Pacific. We want sea lines of communications for our merchant shipping, which are common interests. Then, of course, we have the continental rivalry with the Chinese. How does that play into the US strategy? Would this offset that? I dare say not, but are there pressure points? Perhaps.
I do have to say a few lines on cyber. India is actually a driving horse for software. Everybody knows about it. Data analytics, computing. We have the force. So collaborating in cybersecurity, which is a threat facing the world, is, I think, one of the best things to happen. And the fact that the US has realized it, it recognizes the potential which our country has today. Now, which are the areas? We have already established a joint Indo-US quantum coordination mechanism. This is to facilitate research in the public and private sectors. Now, this is different. Beyond the public, private is also coming in. There's another agreement where support joint research on quantum, artificial intelligence, and advanced wireless technologies. And this, if you're talking about cybersecurity, it means we are building trust and we are building cybersecurity collaboration. That is more important. Now, we cannot leave the telecommunication revolution, the ORAN, which is coming up. Talking mutually on the ORAN, random access network, random radio access network. I think till now, only a few countries, only a few industries had a hold on it. Talking ORAN with open RAN systems with US will help both the countries. So the telecom sector, which is at the forefront of digital transformation and instrumental in facilitating secure communications, will help both the countries to move forward. Now, while this is happening in the cybersecurity, and we are elevating the cybersecurity collaboration, the expertise which we have, like I said, in the information system, the potential to surpass United States in such areas as data analytics, advanced computing, and cybersecurity is an foregone conclusion. Touching on the space, now space is something very interesting. We aligned with US way back in 60s, 70s. We owe a lot what had at that point of time gone the site. In fact, many of you would be remembering our first satellite which we used for education purposes, 2400 beaming, which was done all across the world, all across the country, owed its inception and success to the US. And because of that, there was also much of commerce developing, a lot of trade developed in that industry. We have signed the Artemis Accord. I think now there will be a lot to mutually collaborate. The opening up of the Indian space industry to the private sector is something which we will all look forward to.
Coming about ASEAN centrality, now when we look at US-India collaboration in the Southeast Asia, Sanjay sir rightly mentioned about we should talk also about coordinating. A solid example, I would say, that where we could think of coordinating is where Japan already is doing much in Bangladesh when we are connecting the northeast of India through our ports, through the Matabari deep sea port in Tripura, where in fact it shouldn't be just India, Japan, but US can definitely contribute in coordinating such kind of infrastructure development projects in a third country who is not part of the Quad member, like in Bangladesh. So that definitely diversifies our interests. That definitely brings us more together and more areas of cooperation and potential areas of collaboration.